People who don't want kids, why? I'm poor, that's why. At the end of the day, that's the truth of it. Daycare can go up to $2,000. Getting groceries for a family is a monthly endeavor. Baby formula itself is a lot. Clothes, schooling, education. Yes, there are services that are government-sponsored, but they don't have quality that remains focused on helping a child. You must commit to that child. You don't have bad days anymore. You don't have "I can't do this anymore" unless you are willing to get a sitter. You must be ready for that child every day, even if they're 14 by now. You can't just simply do whatever. You have to keep caring on a daily basis. And that's hard. Greater than daycare can go up to $2,000. Bro, I wish. Daycares where I live are more like $3,700. Edit. Since a lot of people ask, this is for infant care in Seattle, Washington, USA. But toddler care is not that much cheaper. Also bear in mind, baby formula companies in the USA lobby the government to make sure women don't get paid maternity leave. Daycare costs are insane. Not to mention, if your kid gets sick, which happens a lot, you have to stay at home with them and miss work. Also, daycare centers close randomly for staff training, and none of these days are refunded to you. Financially, I feel like it would be a death sentence, and I don't want to bring a life into this world that I can't properly take care of. Also, selfishly, it would cut into my ability to do and enjoy certain things. I really just don't have my life together enough to be responsible for a child for at least 18 years. I can barely take care of myself. Because never in my life have kids been something I hoped or wished for. Even as a child, when we played family, I felt so weird playing a mother. I wasn't even into baby dolls. It just never felt right for me to have a child. I'm the same. I've never had any maternal instinct. Additionally, all my friends with kids spend their weekends standing in freezing cold fields watching them play football. I lie in bed scrolling and drinking coffee, then go do fun things like shopping or hitting the bars. I have zero regrets about my child-free choice. Oh my God, I hated playing family as a kid, absolutely wild foreshadowing. Always tried to convince my friends to play something more fun like tag or hide and seek. I ended up taking on more of a tomboy identity so that I could play sports with the boys at recess instead of dealing with the girls playing family. I remember doing pretend play at elementary school and always being chosen to play the mother because I was the only girl, and I hated every minute of it. My biggest reason is that I don't want to be a mom. I don't have any maternal instincts and I think kids are annoying. Also, the whole pregnancy and childbirth thing is a literal horror movie. No thanks. Oh my God, yeah, being pregnant and birthing a child would be my literal worst nightmare. And I know because my mom was a midwife and she took me to the births when I was a kid, scarred me for life. Just nope. Right? It's also been my observation that when a man becomes a father, they're considered a father to only their children. But when a woman becomes a mother, she's suddenly expected to be everyone's mom. Edit. Spelling. Honestly, man, whenever I hear pregnancy, childbirth, or postpartum stories from my mother or aunts, it seems like a good plot for a horror movie. I have never been interested in getting or being pregnant or raising kids. I know a woman who has 8 children through 4 pregnancies, 1 set of twins, then a single, then twins, then triplets. After the triplets, she went on to carry 6 more babies for other women before she became too old to safely do it. She really enjoyed being pregnant, so she did it as often as she could. Personally, as a male, being pregnant does not look like a fun time. Edit. We are in Australia. Being a surrogate is voluntary and unpaid. It's illegal to pay someone to be a surrogate, other than medical costs. So this woman did it for free because she wanted to help others have a baby, and because she enjoyed being pregnant. I have never felt the desire to be pregnant. I would hate every minute of it. I can't even deal with having a splinter in my finger. A life form growing inside me? Absolutely not. It looks so horrible and irreparably uncomfortable to me. I have no idea why most women choose to do it. It's an unfortunate necessity to many people, obviously. But I just see most of my female friends get pregnant at some point. I've had siblings and cousins carry children, and it looks awful the whole time. So I'm just surprised how many women continue to opt in. The default is no kids, so you need to have compelling enough reasons to have kids in order to change from no to yes. I don't have those reasons. Given the current state of the world, I also don't think they'd have a promising future to look forward to. I also always reverse the question. Given the state of everything in the world and the outlook for the future, what's a non-selfish reason to bring a human into suffering? Exactly this. If only we could change the societal view that having children is the default. It doesn't seem like the general masses will ever think that deeply about it, though. They'll keep having children as if it's just the thing to do and not that they're bringing full-on human beings into this world. Hear, hear. Yet most people seem to think the default is to have kids, hence OP's question. Kids are just terrible. You can't have anything nice with kids around. They are disease carriers. They require constant feeding and maintenance. Just a hassle all around. And not to mention they cost a fortune. And even when they are adults, they still cost money. It's a gamble. Despite doing everything right, your life could be taken over by behavioral issues, insane medical bills, and/or an economy that will grind you to dust to squeeze out your last drop of blood and leave you nothing for you and yours. People talk all the time about parenting on social media, and we get to see that it's not all sunshine and rainbows like most media would have us believe. There's no guarantee of an amazing experience that will complete your life. You had sex, it took root, and you now have a tiny human you are responsible for, and sometimes that's all it is. I used to work in disability services, and it really backed me off having kids. The hell some of those parents have to go through is not something I could take. People don't like when you say that, but it's reality. You could end up with a child that you live in physical fear of for the rest of your life, who needs round-the-clock intervention that is unaffordable and hard to come by. I just couldn't do it. I can barely take care of myself some days. Besides, my husband and I are very happy with our life without introducing the stress of kids into the mix. I do like kids. I'm a pretty good babysitter, but I prefer not to be responsible for them at the end of the day. Being a woman who likes kids but doesn't want them is sometimes the hardest damn thing in the world. I just like my life how it is, and with the way the world is, who the heck can afford it? It seems very difficult for others to understand though. I get so much crap in real life, less so now after the pandemic. Same. I like kids. I'm happy to have them around, babysit or mentor or teach them. But I don't want to be responsible for a child, 24/7 for 2 decades. This is very responsible. That too is caring. The simplest answer is that I lack the desire. No part of me wants a kid, to raise a kid, and so on. This is it. I don't want a kid in the same way that I don't want to take up sailing boats as a hobby. There's nothing wrong with sailing boats. People do that, it's a fine thing to do, but I just don't have an interest in it. It always annoys me when there has to be a reason, like, I have simply not wanted children before I understood it was even a choice. Yep, this. Never once have I looked at anyone with kids and thought, yeah, I want that. Same as I have no desire to do many things. I don't get why there has to be a reason. Sometimes it is just that simple. They're expensive and time-consuming. They detract from the things I want out of life and offer nothing that I want in return. This is exactly how I feel too. It's not that they don't add value to people's lives, but it's not what I'm looking for. I spent most of my young adult life in bad relationships and even cared for an ex's young daughter while we were together for 5 years. While I did love the little girl, I found myself frustrated at the seemingly never-ending chore or to-do list that having a child involves. Since I was a teenager, the number one thing that put me off kids was taking them to school every morning, daycare, and tantrums. I also enjoy sleeping and crafting, which would be out the window with a child. Looking at all my hobbies, I can't think of a single one I'd be willing to give up to have a child. Kids deserve a parent who'd pick them over tennis or 3 hours of uninterrupted gaming on the weekends. My wife and I agree, and that's why we've decided not to have kids. We're telling them tonight after dinner. I don't really like kids. They require a level of patience, understanding, and attention that I've never had. I'm always polite to kids when they're around, but I don't love them like a lot of people do and prefer my peace. They're expensive, and I'm lower middle class. The world they'd have to grow up in is not one I'm particularly proud of or comfortable in at this point in time. I have some mental health struggles, and on top of not wanting to be an unintentionally poor parent, I don't want to pass those traits on to my child. I simply just never wanted one. I knew when I was 8 years old. Luckily, my husband didn't want kids either, so that was one of many reasons that I married him. And then just recently we found out that he was incapable of getting me pregnant without medical intervention, and now we really don't have to worry about ever having a kid. Just to be safe, make sure the word sterile was used, not infertile, in regards to his or your condition. So many people mistake infertility for sterility, and they are not the same. Infertile essentially means you can struggle to conceive, not that you're incapable. Sterile means you're incapable. Ignore me if you're aware and there's no issues. But so many people confuse these concepts, and as a child-free person myself, I would hate for you to end up in a position you didn't think was possible. The generational trauma and the hereditary illnesses make me question it. Lack of desire seals it for me. Basically, I believe if you don't want kids with all your heart, aren't willing to sacrifice anything for them, and be a consistent presence in their life, then you shouldn't have kids. After a stressful day, I can't imagine anything worse than coming home to screaming, crying, and completely dependent beings. The level of absolute exhaustion I feel after coming home from my awful job and having basically no time to do the things I need to do or the things I want to do. The thought of adding a kid into this gave me a newfound level of massive respect for my single mother who raised me and my brother. Like, what an absolute legend. But I now see it from the outside looking in, and I don't want it. Respect to those who do, but I just don't have it in me. As a working parent, I agree. I love my kids. But Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 7:30, I would be a much happier person without those 10 hours per week. Yup, being a nanny in my early 20s really solidified the child-free thing for me. I immediately knew that coming home from a stressful day at work to deal with crying kids who don't want to go to bed was not the life I wanted for myself. My daughter flooded a bathroom because she forgot to turn a sink off. Without insurance, it will be a 5-figure repair. So I guess the $2,000 payment to cover the deductible isn't so bad in the grand scheme. It's the most singular expensive thing they've broken between the three of them, but I've paid far more in replacing or repairing stuff they break or lose due to typical kid carelessness. Just in case any child-free folks are struggling to share a reason, haha. Multiple reasons, but the biggest one is I don't want the responsibility. Raising a human is an extremely big responsibility and requires a ton of sacrifice, assuming you want to be an actual great parent. I just don't want that responsibility, especially because I know I wouldn't half-ass it. I would be 100% committed, and that thought alone is exhausting. Coming from a woman. 1. Expensive 2. Worried my partner wouldn't put in the same effort I would? Being a great partner is not the same as being a good parent. 3. Childbirth and postpartum seem like they would suck 4. Expensive childcare 5. Your house is a mess 99% of the time 6. I like quiet 7. The idea of them holding you back. Career-wise 8. Not being able to pick up and go whenever seems like it would suck. There are so many more different reasons why women wouldn't want children and yet barely see it mentioned in these threads. We would take the brunt of bearing children, and that sounds absolutely awful. Too much pain or discomfort for months, then a terrible birth, possible risk of death and permanent disabilities, partner might leave you at your most vulnerable or the relationship could suffer and you grow past each other. Because parenting changes the relationship, and then as a woman, you are more likely to be expected to stay home with the baby that screams and pukes and poops. Haha, why would I want to sign up for that? Same. I'm not entirely sure I'd feel so strongly if I were born a male. It's motherhood that looks like a taxing Sisyphean nightmare. Fatherhood doesn't look nearly as bad. I've also been working with people's money for over 20 years and have seen what happens when people, mostly women, don't work for years. And since it defaults to women doing all the sacrificing, the trade-off does not look good. This. As a woman, I would maybe be interested in being a dad. I have no interest in being a mom. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. It really helps. Subscribe for more and tap the bell so you don't miss the next one.